So, hi guys.
Hello. Sorry, I was looking at the if it was recording.
Yeah, hi guys. Welcome to Cinema Suitcase. Today we're going to be talking about District 9, directed by Neill Blomkamp, obviously produced by Peter Jackson, with writing credits to Neill Blomkamp, Terry Tatchell. Original music, which is amazing music.
Oh, I've been geeking out about this music.
Yeah. By Clinton Shorter, who did the music. Then cinematography by Trent Opperloch. I'm very sorry if I'm abusing that, if I'm not pronouncing that properly. I mean, hell, we're South Africans. We still don't know. We don't know how to pronounce half these names.
Some names can be difficult. If you to read, once you hear it, you know. But to initially read it, you're like.
And then editing was by Julian Clark. So yeah.
Solo.
Yeah, solo editor.
Wow, what about like the CGI team?
Well,
did they have that? I imagine.
Probably, yeah. I mean,
okay, he probably compiled everything after editing.
Yeah, because this movie, if I'm not mistaken, had like a $35 million budget. Which is pretty good. Which is pretty impressive. What they were able to make. Brilliant. Yeah.
Anyway, this will be our first film
South African
with a sort of South African background. There's no better film to start off with international recognition, I think, than
District 9.
District 9. Okay, it's not solely South African. It was funded by the Americans. I think it was the States that funded. But it was still created by a South African, and I think as young South African filmmakers, we need to acknowledge that history.
Yeah.
Which is going to be like a segment of ours, not like a different segment, but we will address South African films from time to time because we also love them.
Yeah, because we want to shine a spotlight, like we said in our intro episode, we want to shine a spotlight on South African films.
Exactly.
And I think this was actually the first. I mean, the thing is, I think I'd watched a little bit of South African movies when I was a kid and everything, but I think the one that like really made an impact on me as a kid, and I was like going, "Wow!" was District 9. Well, we'll get to that when we talk about our backstories for this film.
Exactly.
But anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and if you're listening on Spotify or any of our podcast platforms, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so let's sort of get started. Do you want to talk about your first experience with this film?
My first. With District 9, of course.
District 9, of course, yeah.
Obviously, this ain't no Transformers.
Yeah, ain't no Transformers, this ain't no Alien. This ain't no Avengers Endgame.
My first, brushings with District 9, I'll admit, was years ago. When it came out in 2009, there was a lot of hype within SA because of its home country, as it were. Which is great. I saw a lot of like screenshots and trailers and those big like billboard signs that they put all over when some big release is coming.
Yeah.
I saw those a lot. That was my first encounter with District 9, and I admit, because like back when I was younger, I used to like avoid anything that sort of freaked me out because I used to get like bad nightmares. I mean, that movie came out when I was like 9. So.
Yeah, I was similar as well. Like there were also a couple of movies that used to freak me out as a kid.
So then officially my first brushing with District 9 was when we were in class and we watched that short film, the prequel as it were to District 9.
Yeah, Neill Blomkamp. So the original short film that he made, which was his sort of like his prototype, and then probably obviously Peter Jackson or whoever watched that was impressed, and then they gave him the budget to actually make the proper thing.
Exactly. So that was the first time, and then you brought it up because who was our lecturer then? It wasn't Lika, was it? No.
It was Lika. But yeah, I will talk about that when I talk about my experience with the film.
Okay, but anyway, she asked if anyone knew like what that movie was a part of, the franchise, and you said, "Oh, it's District 9." Okay, I didn't click, but then you were like, "Oh, I have District 9. We're gonna come over. We're gonna watch this." And then I watched District 9, and I loved it. And since then, that was when I fully sat down and watched District 9, and I'll never. I can't unsee it. It's too good.
Because you were, to be frank, you were a bit of an uncultured swine.
I'm an uncultured swine. No,
Toy Story reference.
I still am, but that's why I keep you around, because you have a larger knowledge than me.
No, you're not uncultured or anything. I didn't mean that. I was just joking.
No.
But yeah, the thing is, because I feel like with you, if I'm not mistaken, you were used to a lot of like big American blockbuster type movies. You weren't really used to a lot of these like smaller niche films.
I didn't have niches here, of course, but I was there to learn and expand my
film knowledge.
Yeah, film knowledge. I wanted to say my mental collection, as it were.
Yeah.
But film knowledge is much better, and so then I was open to all and any suggestions, basically.
Yeah.
And I still am, which is largely why I was like, okay, he's recommended District 9. Yeah. This is from my country. I have to watch it.
Yeah. So for my little backstory, I remember back in the day, my dad he used to go watch movies by himself sometimes, just to like relax or whatever. And the one day he went and watched. He went to the cinema to go watch District 9. And when he came back home, he said came to me and said, "Logan, you have to watch this movie, District 9. It's so cool. You're gonna love it." And I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." And then the funny part is that because we live in Pretoria, which is like right next to Johannesburg. The two cities are they're basically right next to each other, 40-minute drive apart from each other. And I used to take the freeway because I used to go to a private school that was on like a farm. So we used to take the freeway to get to my school, and then we actually saw the MNU military trucks drive past. And then we thought that what it was for. Then my mom said that no, because they're filming some big movie, and those are what the trucks are for. And it was really, really, really cool. But yeah, so but yeah, no, I watched this as soon as it came. Obviously, I couldn't go see it in the cinema, but as soon as it came to DVD, my parents rented it for me, and I watched it, and I love this movie. This movie was phenomenal. It was because to me, I hadn't seen.
How old were you when you first saw it? I'm interested.
Okay, wait. So 2000. I'm going to give away my age here, but 2009. Today it's 2021, so I was about 12 years ago. So I was about 13 when the movie came out.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like an early teenager, because you're the young spring chicken. Yeah, I'm the old man. Yeah, I'm the uam.
Yeah, the uam.
but yeah, as it were. So yeah, basically, and then in terms of your question earlier about who showed it to us, I believe it was Jazz. She showed it to us. It was in our second. It was our second year. It was in our second year that she showed us the Neill Blomkamp's original short film, because we were talking about South African filmmakers. And sorry, what I was originally going to say was that for me, because the thing is, I also grew up kind of watching a lot of blockbusters, and as I got older, I sort of started to experiment a bit. But for me, this was the first film when I was like, wow, this is what South Africa, this is what we can make.
This is what we can do.
Yeah, we can compete with the top dogs over there at Hollywood. But yeah, so, and then just to the story's getting a bit too long, but
that's fine. Go for it, dude.
Yeah. Just and then I remember the one day we had this one lady producer. I can't remember her name, but she was this very big producer who worked obviously on South African films and South African television and all broadcasting and all that type of stuff. And she came to speak to us for a workshop. And then she wanted to ask us. She asked each of us. So she went student by student and asked us what South African films do you like, and what inspire? What are the type of films you want to make? And then when she eventually got to me, I said to her, well, when I was growing up, I was very inspired by District 9 and sci-fi, and I really want to make sci-fi movies and everything. She was just she sort of was just okay, whatever. I think she was kind of trying to say it in the sense of you're never going to be able to make that because South Africa, the companies, they don't fund movies like that.
No,
I mean, they had to get American funding to get this movie made, but yeah, then she sort of shrugged it off, and I was just I don't know. I think also the problem is people don't really like.
Plus, sorry, she asked a subjective question. There was no fixed answer. So if District 9 inspired you, then that's cool. But she was like, ugh.
Well, no, she wasn't like ugh. She was just like kind of like this, and then later, and then I remember after she was done, she said like, "Yeah, you guys are being unrealistic because you want to do sci-fi, you want to do this, you want to do that. Can somebody?" She wanted sort of like a more realistic. She was sort of trying. I think she was trying to temper our expectations about what we could make in this country, and then eventually, I remember our one friend in college, he said that he liked romance films, and she was like, something more realistic, and I'm just like, fine, yeah, like we don't already have like 50 billion rom-com films, but I mean, it's like I'm not trying to like discredit rom-com films. I mean, there are some really good rom-coms, but it's just kind of like people should be able to like what genre they like, but anyway, that was kind of just my story with this film. I feel like I love this film, and like it's a masterpiece. Like it's honestly, I honestly would say this is a masterpiece.
I think it is.
I'm probably gonna spoil it in the beginning, but I don't think I have any real flaws in this movie, aside from like one tiny flaw that I did mention to you when you and me were watching this last night.
Yeah, you did bring it up. I was wondering if that would be the one.
Bring it up, yeah. But other than that, I have no other flaws to this movie. This movie is perfect. But yeah. Anyway, so then just so you guys know, we shouldn't have mentioned it at the beginning, but this will be a spoiler discussion. So if you haven't seen District 9, just click away, go watch it, and then come back and we can talk. But yeah, this film features it's set in Johannesburg, which is one of our main cities here in South Africa, and it's basically when this alien ship lands, and it's sort of like hovering over Johannesburg, instead of going like what the one guy says. What one of the guys says in the movie is that like instead of hovering over like London or Washington DC or something, it instead comes here to Johannesburg in South Africa. And then eventually the government breaks into the ship, and then we find these like aliens, which are known as the prawns. They got these almost crab-like aliens, because they got like these like things moving in the
they're like crustaceans. They're exoskeleton, basically.
Yeah. They got like these things moving on their chests, and they also got these little like tentacles, these little like things that like mandible things that like move like this as they talk. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Then we pretty much go from there. Then in this film we have MNU, which is like because every sci-fi movie always has to have the evil corporation, and this movie basically has MNU, which is basically the evil corporation. They're this weapons developer.
It's the low-budget Yutani corporation.
Yutani, Wayland Yutani.
Isn't it Industries?
Yeah, Wayland Yutani from Alien, and then there's what and also like the Tyrell Corporation from the Blade Runner universe.
Oh yes.
Everything like that, but yeah, so and then the thing is that they get these aliens, they take them off the ship, and then they sort of quarantine them in this like this area called District 9, where they're trying to keep the aliens and the humans apart from each other, because the humans don't like these aliens. The people of Johannesburg, they don't like them. They want them to go. The one guy even says like, there was gore. I don't know where they can go, but there was just gore. Like that.
Yeah,
like that.
It's actually, I really love District 9's. It hits the ground running, as it were. Everything is sort of found footage recaps of the events, and then the story starts after that.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that. Like the film is it's sort of like this. It's this like almost like a trio, like this trio hybrid. It's sort of a hybrid, because some of the footage is like found footage. Some of it is documentary style, and then some of it is like, and then obviously the majority of it is traditional filmmaking style. So
it's true.
I just really love that style. Then I remember you said that one line you really like, where the guy goes, "There are a lot of secrets in District 9."
There are a lot of, the way he says it, like his eyes go big, he's scared. It's funny to me. Yeah. Like the first time you watch it, because then immediately after that is the title sequence, and then you start wondering like what is really going on in District 9. It hooks you. It's awesome.
So I've talked a bit too much, but so Kevin, tell me, who is our main protagonist? Do you want to explain
Batman.
who he is?
Batman, hands down.
Oh yeah, Batman. Batman's in this movie.
Batman budget edition. Alright, I forget the actor's name.
Sharlto Copley. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Copley. Was it Copley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Copley then. Vickers van der Merwe, he's an MNU, I want to say MCU.
MCU.
He's an MNU, what is he? Like he's not an enforcer, he's like a pencil pusher.
No, he's basically like almost like a social worker type thing.
Okay, yeah.
Because the
like
thing is,
doesn't he work in HR? I think he does.
No, I can't remember the exact. He actually mentions at the beginning, but I can't remember the exact name for his department. But he works in a department where they basically interact with the prawns
like,
on behalf of humanity.
Exactly, like a diplomatic representation.
Like sort of like a diplomat, social worker type.
That's his job.
He's
on the ground. He's there discussing, making the rules, as it were, or like not making the rules, like negotiating.
Yeah,
that's essentially what his job is, and I think he's actually quite a diverse character because everyone looks down on him. He's literally the underdog and the butt of every joke, the punching bag. That's what Vickers is.
Yeah.
But he really...
People are harsh to him. Like, when they're interviewing his parents and everything, even them, they're saying, like, Vickers was never a very smart boy, but he was... It's just like,
they really...
That's your son, lady.
It's rude.
That's rude.
Like, okay, maybe it's probably true. He wasn't the best, but damn, it'd be supportive.
He's not the smartest guy ever, but I mean, he is sharp.
Yeah.
Because especially when you see him, especially late in the film, because the thing is, they want to move the prawns from District 9 into a new facility called District 10, which is a more safer, and it's far away. It's like 100 kilometers outside of Johannesburg, so they'll be completely separate and remote from the humans. So everyone, they could live in harmony.
Exactly.
And then he gets appointed to take direct command of the whole operation.
Sorry, man. I really. I just want to ask later on in the movie, Christopher, the main prawn.
Yeah.
He wants to go to where those like white tents are set up. Is that part of District 10 that they're sort of constructing?
That's actually District 10 because later because the thing is he's sort of given up hope. He's like, okay, no, we're just gonna have to go to this new thing. There's no way we're gonna be able to get back to our planet. And then he's looking at the brochure and he's showing his son, and then Vickers actually comes in and says, no, actually no. The brochure, it's just propaganda.
Exactly.
They're actually these like small tents. It's more of a concentration camp.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to confirm because I knew they did bring it up, and then I was like, is that the section they actually want to move them to? Because otherwise, why would Christopher want to go there?
Yeah.
Is it like a refugee camp?
Yeah, basically. But so and then just originally what I was saying, and then he gets appointed to take direct command of the operation. But then the thing is when they're on the ground, everybody just wants to start shooting and like killing, and like nobody really knows how to take the situation. But he's actually the sharp one. He's the one that's saying like, no, don't start shooting. You're going to turn it into a war zone. And then there's that one part where he starts throwing the cat food at the prawns to distract them and get them away.
Diffuse them, as it were.
Yeah, but I like Vickers van der Merwe because I think actually, in fact, my one friend, he actually didn't like the actor who plays Charlotte Copley. Because the thing is, I think he saw because after District 9, obviously Charlotte Copley became a big star, and he started to sign not only other of Neill Blomkamp's films but also other Hollywood films. And he didn't really like him. He thought he was a bit of a pretty boy, whatever. But then the other day, him and I went and because he had never seen District 9, so I sat him down and I said, "Okay, you're going to watch this movie." And when he watched it, he actually said, "No, this guy's actually a really good actor."
He is. He's really brilliant, dude.
Yeah.
Like everyone. And I think the audience maybe adapts that mindset as well. If everyone sees him as a loser, you sort of by default go to seeing him as like a nobody that can't do anything for himself, which is actually kind of true maybe because he's just nice. He comes across as weak, but he actually he gets a lot of character development. He's a badass.
So and then to add to basically just add to your point, what I was going to say is that and then the thing is nobody takes him seriously because the thing is MNU, they have their own sort of private military military run by that General Quivas. Who's the bad guy of the movie.
Dude, you can tell he was sus.
Yeah, he was very sus. But Vickers, he comes in and he sort of the beginning when they're loading up and they're getting their weapons ready and everything. He actually goes to them and says you guys are are using more of the allocated ammunition. You're only supposed to use this amount, but your guys are carrying too much. And then you try to sort of like just say to them, look, just
Yeah, like talk it out.
he's trying to talk it out, and then like the guy calls the general, and then Quivers he stands there, like listens to him for like a little bit. Then he says, he just grabs him and like starts pushing him around, and you can tell nobody respects him.
Yeah,
even though he's taking direct command, nobody respects him. But the thing is, even he's just trying to be a nice guy. Like even when like he's giving his speech at the beginning when he gets his promotion, he's saying we're going to try and handle this different to Quivers and the Cowboys, but don't worry, Quivers, we appreciate you guys very much. Like he's just a nice guy.
Yeah, he's generally a nice. He's genuinely a nice guy, and that's what I said. People mistake that for weakness.
I mean, he
Which is
can.
not true.
Yeah, I guess the one flaw about him is that he can be a bit. Okay, well, I'm not going to talk too much about this, but I want to ask you.
Of course, bring it
I'm
up.
going to mention what I think, and then I want to get your opinion on it. He can be a little racist to the prawns, especially in the beginning when he's.
You're talking about Vickers.
Yeah, Vickers. He can be a bit racist to the prawns because like in the beginning he sort of doesn't really like regard them. He sort of regards them as like second-class citizens, just like everybody else.
Like they're not as smart as you may think.
But then obviously later, as he spends time with Christopher, he starts to notice that the prawns are thin. And then later, when he gets taken to MNU and he sees what they're actually doing to the prawns, he actually does care about. You find that he does actually care about them. Like when they're trying to get him to shoot those pigs to test those guns. And then they bring the prawn out. He actually like says, I will not shoot a prawn. I will shoot a pig again, but I'm not going to shoot a prawn. That prawn didn't do anything.
Exactly. The prawn is just like a I suppose you could say like a victim of circumstance. They didn't plan on stopping there. I don't think.
But yeah. So what's your take on that?
On Vickers being kind of degrading in the beginning.
Yeah. At the beginning.
I think he is. He seems to. I thought about it last night as well. Actually, I thought maybe it was just me, but. He tends to bounce back between sort of defending them and then sort of looking down on them. Like he's on the fence. He can't decide whether they should be treated as people or if they're sort of seen as less. Because everyone else sees them as less, hence the racist term of prawn.
Yeah.
But they don't really have a name outside of prawn. So I suppose maybe just in the script, even if it's not used with racist intent, he still says prawn so that we know what he's on about. Maybe it's like a meta mistake.
Yeah.
So I think that would, but I do agree with you that he does.
But I guess it's part of the hero's journey because the beginning he's supposed to start. You could tell that he is a good man in the beginning.
He's a little bit arrogant.
But he is arrogant and he is like he does look down upon the prawns. But then later he learns.
Once he's among the people, as it were.
Yeah,
but initially he's like a little oblivious to his own. Maybe he's not aware of his own negative. What he's throwing out there.
And then, what did you think of the whole sequence when they're carrying out this operation in District 9? Like I said earlier, like when he's trying to defuse the situation.
Oh, you're talking about that whole eviction cover up intro. Thing. I think it was like step one. It existed as world building, so you would be like boots on the ground. You would see what life is like for them. How they live, how they go about their business, but it was also like a way to introduce the Nigerian faction. Yeah. Those crooks there, which are like kind of based in reality to some extent.
Yeah. I like that little bit where they're walking and then they see the Nigerian leaders looking at them and he's just like, oh yeah, yes, hello. And he says, okay, let's turn around. And then like as they're busy walking away, one of the guys tries to look back. He's like, no, don't look at him. Just carry on walking.
Just walk. Yeah, that's the thing. Because if the armed guys are running away from them, then you know that Nigerian there's something up with him already. Yeah. That faction, not just him. Yeah. I'm not sure why he's disabled though. I asked you last night.
Yeah, we were sort of talking about that. They don't actually mention why he's disabled.
Because I didn't even notice he was in a wheelchair the first time you see him. Only later on when they roll him out, I was like, I thought he was just sitting like he was lazy the whole time.
Yeah, I guess also that could sort of explain why you desperately wants the aliens' power, because that's actually
I just thought about it.
That actually is a plot point in the movie where the Nigerians believe that if they consume bits of the alien, that they'll absorb the power and become powerful. Then later, when Vickers starts to turn into one of the prawns, the Nigerian leader is captivated by this. He's like, I want this to happen to me because I need to be more powerful.
So he can use their weaponry and maybe actually gain his legs back, the function of them.
Yeah,
maybe.
I guess I've never actually thought about that, but I guess actually that's
I think it's a fair argument.
Fair argument, actually, why he's so like hell bent on
getting that transformation,
that alien DNA. Yeah.
Because if he just wanted it, because it's very shallow and boring, but he seems to be driven, and I think one is so he can use that alien gear, because that shit is cool.
Yeah, the alien.
Oh, dude, the first time they bring up the guns early in the film, and then they say it can only be used by aliens, like, period. We can't use them, and then
because it's locked to their DNA.
Their DNA, exactly. And then he fires like a prawn fires that gun, and that cloud comes up with the lightning in it, and I'm like, oh, that is, now I can see why these people want these weapons. That was awesome to me.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So I think about the wheelchair guy, it was just to gain that functionality and the use of those weapons, which is cool.
Yeah, that is very cool. And then basically he's evicting all these different prawns, and then we cut to Christopher, who's sort of like he's sort of like I guess you could say like probably when he was back when they were still on the ship, he was probably like a scientist. He was probably one of their scientists.
Maybe like
because the thing is, they said that the prawns are actually intelligent. I think the problem is because of malnutrition or something that happened on the ship. They've sort of like become a bit more primal and a bit more,
like sluggish, and they shut down a little bit.
Yeah, they sort of shut down and become more like scavengers.
Yeah.
So we find out that the command module ship, which is like this little ship that commands the whole thing, basically falls down. They can't find it. And then we find out that Christopher's been hiding under his shack.
Yeah, because they searched for months and they couldn't find it at all.
Yeah. We searched for bloody months, man.
Yeah, the way he gets so salty, it's so nice to see the home country ranges.
The home country and like
people.
The different accents and stuff like that. Yeah, it's very cool.
It's great, man. And as I said just before it cut there, and I said that command module is basically the driver's seat.
Yeah.
It's a small thing, but it's incredibly vital for the overall ship.
Yeah.
So you need that.
Yeah. So and then Christopher, he basically has been spending the last 20 years collecting like different electronics and stuff, because they're basically trying to scavenge our technology so they can get this they can create this like fluid, which is basically like a fuel for their for the ship. And they basically and they had to spend 20 years collecting this thing, and then the problem is Vicus comes with his eviction thing, and then they try to hide it, but then the thing is he confiscates it, and then when he's busy like fiddling with it in front of the camera, it like sprays in front of onto his face, and then the problem is that's where his mutations start to happen.
Exactly, that's the cause of it, and they even emphasize it because like the audio is very like heavily muffled, and it has that high-pitched
ringing.
Exactly, like he's lost consciousness.
And he's like, turn it off, turn it off.
Yeah, exactly. It's brilliant. I just wanted to say, I had one point now about the Nigerians, and you said the prawns are like scavengers.
Yeah.
Because they're so malnourished and degraded. And what's interesting about that is the Nigerians, they actually have hyenas, which are naturally scavengers. In that same scene.
Yeah, I remember the hyena
They
shots.
draw such a wonderful similarity between the two without ever saying it. It's awesome. Yeah, that I thought was very cool. And you only see that hyena for like one shot. It's gone again. And then it has like a muzzle, I think. And then that's it. You don't see it the rest of the movie. So they actually draw that contrast. It's brilliant. I think that was purposeful.
But yeah, no, great. And then
I had one more point and I lost it. Oh.
Okay, well.
Oh, I remember. Sorry, Christopher the prawn.
Yeah.
You first introduced to him and his little son, I assume.
Yeah, his son
and his friend, and you can already tell he's different from the other prawns because.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. He must have been like a scientist or something on the
exactly, and they emphasize that because not only is his shack very well organized and neat, but so are his clothes.
Yeah.
Compared to the others, which already puts him on a more human base level than the others.
Maybe there was some sort of like viral outbreak or something on the ship, and then maybe he was in that command module ship, so he was protected or something, and he wasn't affected by the whatever happened on that ship.
Ravageness, maybe.
Maybe it was like a bioweapon or like a chemical spill or something like that. Because the thing is, all the other ones they're very primal and very like they only really think basically. Whereas he's more like intelligent and he actually like the thing. And then they even say later like because when Vickers is going around evicting all these prawns, it's easy to trick them. He just like gives them a can of food and then they fall for it and they just like hit the scroll or whatever. But the thing is with him, he actually like asks them questions like, well, why am I being evicted? Like this is illegal and everything. And then he actually even says to his colleagues that no, this guy he's a little more sharper
than the others. Exactly. Yeah. It's actually I didn't click on that last night. I didn't notice this, but I was like,
That's actually an interesting point. I actually never considered that.
About what?
Because I always knew that he was smart, but I never actually considered the whole thing of like his shack is more neater.
Yeah,
he's got like more
clothing. He's more humanoid, as it were. Yeah, it's really interesting compared to the others that are more savage.
Yeah,
which is cool.
And I guess the point I really want to get your opinion on is they do a really good job of world building, but also making District 9 its own like little place,
like its own hub, as it were.
Yeah, because there's a lot of like world building. Like you see the prawns busy like living in their shacks. You see them interacting with the Nigerians, like them doing those bets. They have like those little like alien spider
like the illegal cockfight things.
Yeah. And they're doing the cockfights. Then later you see them trying to negotiate with the Nigerians with that big mech suit.
Yeah, they were they're doing sort of like gun deals. Arms deals, which is cool. Anyway, you wanted my opinion.
Yeah, I just wanted your opinion. What do you think? What do you think of that? Of like the world building and everything like that?
I think it's actually quite phenomenal because it's a weird, very fine line to balance the rest of Joburg, the parts that we do see, and District 9, but also within District 9. Okay, so Joburg and District 9 are distinctly different. But also within District 9, it's divided even further into subcategories between Christopher and his son and his mate, and then the Nigerians with their sort of illegal arms deals, and then the prawns themselves. Some are just getting by. They're just like they ask questions when they're being evicted, and then there's the other ones that are more salty and like street dogs. They're all aggressive and attack. Those ones, it's cool. There's like factionism in District 9, and they really they do a good job of it showing that not every prawn is a savage, but also not every sort of good prawn is necessarily a good prawn. The lines are blurred, which is cool.
They do a lot of blurs and everything, and pretty great. And then basically, then Vickers basically gets infected. He goes back home, and then there's that funny little in joke that only a South African will get when he goes back to his office, and then he notices that his fingernail like comes off, like he goes into the bathroom, his teeth start to fall out and everything. And then he's really you could tell there's something wrong with him. And then when he gets back home to his wife, he opens the door, the lights are all off, and then he says to his wife hi honey, I really need to go to the toilet. Is the power off again?
Yeah, of course, that would fly under everyone's radar.
Load shedding, guys. It's a thing that we face every day.
If you're not a South African, you will not get that joke. Initially, I mean, maybe you'll get the joke because you're like, okay, the power must be out, but you don't understand how frequent it is.
Like when he says, is the power off again?
Yeah, it's the again that's emphasized. It's so good, dude.
Yeah, that's an awesome joke.
I love that scene.
But then we sort of see how he is with his wife. You could tell that him and his wife really do love each other.
They have a genuine relationship.
They have a genuine relationship, and then later she's very concerned with him because he obviously first he gets like shut up by his father-in-law saying this operation was screwed and too many prawns died today and everything because the father-in-law clearly doesn't respect him or
I don't think he even likes him too much.
No, he doesn't like Vickers at all.
Hey, the in-laws, they're always the worst, mate.
Yeah. And then basically it continues on a bit. We get to see what was I going to say? Then he goes to the hospital, and then obviously, because the thing is, when they were trying to evict one of the prawns got violent, and he was throwing people around, and he threw Vicus around. Vicus's arm got hurt, so he has like a arm bandage thing. And then when he goes to the doctor and they cut it open, we see like he has alien fingers, he has prawn fingers.
Uh-huh. Do you think that when he was thrown by that prawn and he was scratched, or maybe like some sort of injury, like internal injury, not just like okay, how do I word it? Like, say he theoretically was scratched. Do you think if that little skirmish didn't happen, that fuel would have nothing for him to turn into because there was no second set of DNA? Do you think so? Because it's weird that it starts on the arm that was injured.
Maybe.
Do you think if that never happened?
Because it's technically just because the fluid, it's technically supposed to just be fuel for the ship. It's not supposed to do anything, but I think maybe when that alien actually scratches him, and his DNA sort of gets into Vicus, that's when it starts to mix with the fuel, and that's when the DNA starts.
That's what I'm saying. So it's interesting to think if that never happened, basically everyone would be evicted, the credits would roll. There would be no movie. But
I'm actually very interested.
It's curious. I just thought about it now, but you brought up the fact that there was the skirmish and Vicus was pushed around by that one prawn, and then. It made me wonder why his arm that was injured starts mutating. It was also obviously like not a plot point, but like necessary for the script to hide it, that transformation initially.
Yeah.
So that it could actually have time to pass, which makes sense. But it just made that theory now. What if that skirmish started that mutation?
Yeah.
Maybe that fuel is like volatile. It's like chemically unbalanced or something.
And then the problem is when the DNA starts to get mixed, that's when it starts to merge and everything. So, that was pretty cool. Then
that's actually cool, yeah.
Yeah, so then we see him get taken by MNU. They experiment on him. We find out that his DNA is completely merging now with alien, and then obviously that's the scene I mentioned earlier where they get him to start testing the guns because now his alien, he can now actually they can actually start seeing what these weapons can actually do, and then later they even test his human hand, and his human hand even with his human hand it does work. And then in the beginning they keep because he keeps saying where's my wife, and the guy goes screw your wife or whatever. And then they keep electrocuting him with the shock stick thing.
Yeah, it forces his hand to tense.
Yeah. And then basically he keeps shooting pigs. They keep testing it on pigs or whatever, or dead pigs or whatever. And then later when they actually want him to fire on a live prawn, he said that's actually when he starts resisting. He starts saying, no, I'm not going to shoot a prawn.
Yeah, even though they've been painted as the enemy the entire time, he still has that moral standpoint where he's like, no, I refuse to shoot this prawn.
I'm not an executioner. Yeah, and then we sort of start to see that MNU's been experimenting a lot on the prawns and dissecting them and ripping them apart. And,
there's that weird scene with the guy. It's he's moving the skin. It looks like he's hanging curtains. My God.
that was very gross.
Dude, it's very, very disturbing.
Yeah, it is very disturbing. But then he breaks out, and then we sort of transition because part one of the story, because it's actually now that I think about it, it's actually very clever how Neill Blomkamp split up the acts. Because if you think about it, it's Act 1, eviction, where he's obviously evicting everything. We see Vicus how he is before and everything. Part 2 is when he's on the run, and then Part 3 is when him and Christopher
final fight time.
The final battle when him and Christopher are trying to get back to the ship.
Yeah, each act is quite long, but it is a long movie. It's still good though. The way it's done is brilliant. I love. And then we
were pointing out some of the beautiful shots that we get in the second part.
I think, as I said, we'll add them to our video version in editing, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But do you have any shots that you'd like to specifically bring attention to? Because I have a few.
Basically, I think the shots that I'd like to bring attention to, obviously, are the ones of sort of when he's on the run, and then sort of late at the night and the sun's starting to set, and you get a lot of those sunset shots where he's he's on the run, but then you see the sun in the background, which is very cool. And then also later, what we were bringing up in the final fight sequence was a lot of the soldiers when they're fighting them, you get a lot of those GoPro first person shooter type shots. There's that one shot where it's from the gun, you see a first person shooter of the gun, and there's another one where they have the camera sort of attached to
weapon.
to the weapon, and the camera's like looking at the soldier as like he's like walking with his gun. And there's a one part where they even fires a gun, and then you and me were going like, how did they do that?
Yeah, we were like,
camera?
we had to ponder it for a while. It was awesome. To add to that shot quickly, you mentioned in the beginning of the episode the sort of like three hybrid versions of filmmaking: the standard filmmaking, the found footage, and then the documentary style.
Yeah.
And I think both the documentary and the found footage style, as well as the POV shots later in the film of the, on the weapons and the sort of first person perspectives, they're designed to put you there on the ground in that situation, and they do it really well.
It's a very creative way of doing a shot, because I mean, you sort of see people try to do first person, but I actually, if I think about it, I've never actually seen a shot where I can't really think of a movie where they've actually put the camera sort of to look at the person as they're busy walking with their gun, and they're like, they're looking down the sights and everything, because it sort of gives you a different perspective.
It really puts you there in that moment, instead of like an outsider looking in, which is the whole window concept of we're watching something unfold. In the meantime, it puts you there in like a first person perspective, and you're like, oh, this is actually what's going down. It adds to the feel, which I think is awesome, dude.
And then we can sort of go if you have any flaws, but the one, okay, but like I said earlier, I've only got really one flaw. It's the one, and obviously we'll include the short little clip in the video version, just so you guys can see, and then for audio listeners, you'll just hear us sort of describe it. But there's a bit where they're because the thing is, he phones his wife. He has two phone calls with his wife. The first phone call, his wife phones him and says, because they made up a cover story that he actually okay, I can't really use the word on YouTube, but he basically
smashed and dashed.
He basically integrated with an alien, and because of that, that's actually they're trying to make an excuse as to why he's like on the run or whatever, but that's actually obviously not true. And then his wife, obviously, the father-in-law's lying to the wife. The father's lying to the daughter and saying like, no, because this is terrible, just move on or whatever. And then she phones him, and obviously to break it up, and then he's saying like, don't give up on me and everything. And then later, because he eventually goes hides in District 9, and then later, that's when she phones him again later to say that, look, I still believe in you. I believe what you're saying. I know my father's lying to me and everything. But anyway, so to get to what I was trying to say is that they're tracking the daughter's phone calls, and then they get the thing, and then there's a part where they're obviously listening on the phone call. Then the Quivers guy goes to the guy and says where is he? And he's like D9, and then it cuts immediately to the thing. That is my one and only flaw of the movie, is that it cuts way too abruptly in that little. I get they wanted they wanted to hard cut it, but I don't know. For me, it was a bit of an awkward edit.
But janky.
I mean, the editing is phenomenal across the board. That's just it's that one moment that
ruins.
I don't like. Because even when I was a kid, before I even went to film school or whatever, even then I was kind of like, okay, yeah, that was a bit too quick. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because he's like D9, then
suddenly we're in D9. Actually, I want to add to that point. I still have camera shots I was talking about, but I want to add to your point of the sudden cut. When he says that, there's the immediate follow-up shot is like a B-roll shot of District 9. It's it's just like some shacks you can see. So
because a lot of the B-roll footage, it's either sorry, I don't want to cut you off. I'll be brief, but a lot of it is usually from the perspective of like a sniper, because those guys, obviously the military, they obviously come in with helicopters. And a sniper.
They have
but also a lot of newsreel footage.
Yeah.
Of obviously news reporting companies that are flying over District 9 to get reports and everything like that.
Exactly.
But you were saying?
I was saying, as immediately after that that cut that's too quick for you, they have a sort of B-roll shot of District 9. There's nothing going on really. It's just a B-roll shot of a couple of shacks, and I think then your brain catches up what the guy just said. He's like D9, and then your brain is like, oh, okay, District 9. I get, you can argue that.
Yeah, I do understand that point. I understand obviously why they did it, and the B-roll footage is very good and everything. I mean, I understand what you're saying. It's just the thing is, for me, I think like if they maybe just left like if they lingered on that shot for maybe like a second or two more and then cut, it would have been a bit better. Because the thing is, it's just I'm just talking merely from that tiny scene and just how they cut it. That's just my main issue. I don't know if obviously I understand what they were trying to do, but like it's just that little like cut there. There was a bit. There was
a few more frames.
Yeah. If they just lingered on like for like an extra second, it would have been fine. But yeah, that was just my one flaw.
No worries. To come back to camera shots that I really enjoyed. The one is the sunset with the alien ship, which actually reminds me of a point. But yeah, that he's like in the field and you see the sun setting and the mothership.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the same shot but much further back, and it's like a wider shot. That's such a beautiful shot for me. It's probably my favorite shot in that whole film. And then there's another one that I really really love, which is when the mothership. Oh, sorry, the little pod. What is it called? I called it the driver's seat.
It's the command module.
Command module, there we go. I just called it the driver's seat.
It's a nice name.
Yeah, so when the command module crashes and then Christopher falls to his knees, like it's all over. That shot is really cool. It's powerful.
That is a very powerful shot.
Those are my highlighted shots from that film. I really love them.
And then one thing I think we should quickly spotlight before we sort of like move on towards the end is the music. The music in this film is phenomenal.
Oh, it's a beautiful soundtrack. This is what I was talking about. This wallpaper actually plays that.
The high.
That like main theme.
The like throat singing.
It plays that main theme, and actually listening to it away from the action is incredible. Obviously, we can't play it because of copyright, but to listen to that theme on its own is incredible. It creates. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's so harmonious and at the same time it's alien.
Yeah.
Like it tries to see everything as the same almost, but it's distinctly different. It's the way it encapsulates it so nicely. Yeah, you should listen to that soundtrack.
Yeah, because my mom was saying. Okay, well, we'll move on to that, but yeah, no, the soundtrack's phenomenal, and like we always like to do with our films, we always like to spotlight really good music and really good scores. Because a lot of movies these days don't really have. Well, they don't really use original scores as much. A lot of the time, they'll just use like pop songs, whatever's the new hit single, they'll just use that.
Yeah.
Like I know recently they announced the new Blade Runner anime, Blade Runner Black Lotus, and they use like this hit single song or whatever. And then I was going through the comment section because I wanted to see what people's opinions were, and everybody was saying like this music is good, the song is good, but it does not fit Blade Runner at all. Blade Runner is supposed to be completely different type of music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I totally get. Sorry, I was checking if you were in frame.
Yeah.
I was listening though.
Yeah. But
I'd like to say about pop music that's kind of weird is Hotel Transylvania 2, when they have.
I've never seen the Hotel Transylvania movies.
Oh, okay. In the second one, they have the band or music group, Fifth Harmony. They have that blasting on the radio because that song was trending, and I was like, really? There's almost no need for that song to be in the.
Obviously, we don't want to say what the movie is, but a comic book movie that we're going to be doing pretty soon, probably after this. Is I think we'll have quite a bit of things to say about that in terms of the music choices and everything.
Probably, actually. Yeah, you could have a valid argument. Maybe we should. To come back to District 9, I was going to say there's a lot of different shots scattered throughout the entire film of, like, I guess you could say wide shots. And the mothership is always there. Like, it reminds you, this thing is still here. I don't know if that is to add visual appeal or if it's like something more. I'm just like grasping at straws here, but if it's like to serve as a reminder about this mothership always lingering in these shots. It's something I was thinking about last night. Okay, I don't really have any sort of argument to back it up, but I was curious on what you think of from that standpoint, because that thing is, you always reminded the mothership is in some shots, even though they don't need to tell you.
Yeah. I think because I think the problem is they're also trying to bring in the thing that Joburg, the people of Joburg, they don't want the ship to be here, but the ship's always hovering there. It's always there, and they can't, and it's never gonna, to them at least, it's never gonna go away. So that's why they always have the ship like hovering over the city. But I think it's actually a very interesting aesthetic choice, because like most of the time the ships are like, they're usually like cloaked or invisible. Then during the final battle, when the aliens are busy blasting and blowing up the city, that's when you'll see the ship and everything.
Sort of come out.
but for in this movie, for them to decide to like let's have the mothership float over the city, and it doesn't shoot or do anything. It just stands there. Like it's always hovering over the city.
It always there. It's ominous, dude.
Yeah,
That's what I thought about it. So I was just curious about what you had to say.
No. I think that's actually a very good point. Very good point.
It's quite cool.
And then
that was all my points. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, then we go into the final act with the shootout. The final shootout at the end is very very good.
It's quite long actually. It doesn't overstay, but it's quite long.
Yeah, we get because we get the skirmish obviously between there's the MNU fight, then we get to the Nigerians versus the military type fights. But then my favorite fight is right towards the end when Vickers gets into that big alien mech suit, and then he starts taking out these military. Because at first he's just running because him and Christopher sort of had a dispute where Christopher, he doesn't want to help him straight away because he says that no, I need to go get backup so I can come back and help my people because these people are torturing my race and everything like that. And then obviously the two of them have a dispute over that because Vickers says to him like, the deal was you get to go home, you fix my arm, I go home.
Exactly.
Yeah, because he really wants to get back to his wife. That's all. That's his primary goal.
Exactly, to sort of clear his name, as it were. And
anyway, and then obviously at first he runs away, but then he comes back and he saves Christopher. And then obviously at first they're just trying to get back to the ship, but the problem is Vickers eventually realizes that look, these guys aren't going to stop. And the problem is, we're not going to last long. So he basically tells Christopher like, go take your boy and go home. I'll hold them off for you. And then like he starts like he takes like his guns and just starts like murdering these guards. It's so cool. You want a piece of me, Quavas?
Quavas. Yeah, that guy's a dick.
Yeah, I hate that guy.
Yeah. You can see
he's like just gets under your skin throughout the whole movie.
He's really a bully, dude.
Yeah, but I was happy to see his final fate. I'm like, well deserved.
Well, oh yeah, you reminded me actually. It was satisfying. Bad guy deaths, definitely. I do have a gripe about that fight and the Nigerian and the MNU fight. And I stand under correction. I have to go check the movie again. But during, when they flip the one MNU transport vehicle, the Nigerian car...
they fire the rocket launcher.
Oh yeah, okay. Does that flip the vehicle?
Well, the thing is, remember I even said that to you when we were watching the sequence, that they fire the rocket and then the rocket sort of blows up from the bottom of the ship.
Oh yes,
and the thing.
The force.
It sort of comes up and then slams back down again.
Okay,
and then I'm
right,
like, how's this truck blow up? And then you said to me that there were two trucks, and I was like, was there two trucks or was there only one truck?
I think there's two. I'm pretty sure there's two. There's the one that's flipped and there's the normal one.
Because I remember there was the truck that Christopher was in, and then there was the Bucky we call it Bucky.
A Bucky, yeah. Okay, yeah. So they weren't the same type of vehicle. They weren't the same type of vehicle, but they were two vehicles. They were definitely two vehicles. Anyway, okay. You're right, actually. The RPG did flip the more heavy-duty vehicle that was transporting one of them. Because the thing is, this Nigerian car, it rams another vehicle, and then that vehicle flips. I'm pretty sure. And
yeah. The thing is, because they ram into the Bucky where Vickers is.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And that ram they made is made out of pallet wood. That is flimsy F wood. It would not flip that car. So that is what I'm arguing. That thing they made would not flip that Bucky. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of Hollywood movie logic.
It really is. That's what I'm saying. If I have to go recheck it, if that thing is made out of metal, that ram, then the argument may be able to stand. But if that thing is briarwood, not a chance.
I think it was metal. I'm pretty sure.
I think I saw it as wood. We have to check that. But I'm curious to.
Because Nigerians had those Mad Max type cars.
Yeah, they really do. But that's what I'm saying. If they have that ram and it's made of wood, it would not flip that car.
But yeah, no, I just really love that action sequence. I think it's also because I grew up loving sci-fi and I love mechs and anime and that type of thing. So for me, when that big mech suit, when he has that big mech suit thing, to me that was awesome. That was to me that was ghetto South African Iron Man, because this was a year after the first Iron Man movie came out.
True.
So it was ghetto Iron Man
from the hood.
But yeah, they're pretty good. And then then not much else after that. Then he falls out the thing, and then just before the prawns come and take care take care of Quivus.
That was satisfying.
Quivus got yeah, it was satisfying. He's got his gun on Vicus, and then we actually see Vicus, and we see sort of like he's starting to mutate more, and we can see like his one eye becomes like an alien eye.
Yeah, it's
he's
quite
got like
large,
a prawn. He's got like
yeah.
a large prawn eye.
Uh-huh.
And I also just love that opening shot of like where like obviously Quivus has been dealt with now, and he sees the command module going into the ship, and he actually like smiles. That's actually a really nice shot to close on.
That thing is, it's so like angelic, the way that thing slowly levitates back into the mothership, because they have like all these god rays and stuff like that around the ship, and they have this really like wonderful music playing. It's almost like the goal has been reached. I mean, 20 years it was just like a couple of 100 meters up above you, and that's not a heck of a distance, but to over 20 years it was a long distance to go.
Yeah.
I really love that. It's they pace it well.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, so do you want to go into any takeaways from this film?
Yeah.
Anything that you've learned?
Takeaways, yeah. My main takeaway right now is your protagonist doesn't always win.
Yeah.
Vickers did not win at all. Like, he was promised 3 years, I'll come back, but we never see that.
Yeah.
So he's still a prawn as of right now until District 10, maybe.
Yeah. Well, Neill Blomkamp has confirmed that he is.
He has confirmed it, but I don't know if they'll be related, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So Vickers didn't get what he wanted in the end, and he fought for it, but he still didn't get it.
Because I think also it goes back to the whole thing of like the fact that Vickers is such a good character that the thing is at the end of the day he's like he sacrificed himself for Christopher and his boy.
Exactly.
He's like, no, get out of here. And he even says to him like just go, like don't make me go through all this and then you don't even get to leave the planet. Like, yeah, he did a worthy sacrifice. And yeah, the movie and then. There was the bit where I mentioned later where we find out that he doesn't get to go back to his wife, but we cut to footage of his wife, and his wife finds like a metal flower, and she says like it couldn't have possibly come from him, and then we see the prawn in the rummage like building the flower, so we see that that's Vickers.
Vickers, yeah. I think can I get your take? Do you think it was a bittersweet ending? It wasn't ideal, but it kind of worked out, especially if afterwards Christopher did come back and heal him.
I think it is. I think it is a bittersweet ending.
I think so as well. It's awesome. I love it.
No.
It wasn't a sunshine and rainbow ending, but it also wasn't.
It wasn't the typical Hollywood ending.
It also wasn't entirely sad and dismal.
Yeah, there was hope to it.
Which I think was awesome.
Yeah,
that film was very grimy, dude. It's like dirty, and it really it makes you feel uncomfortable. It's kind of the point in some areas.
Okay, yeah, because I know you don't play it a lot, but like because this came out the same time as the first Borderlands game, which me and my family loved the first Borderlands game, and the District 9, like the area with like the shacks and like the bandits and everything. It reminded me so much of Borderlands. That's why I would love if because they are doing a Borderlands movie, they are making one, and again Eli Roth, who does a lot of he did this one movie. He's done a lot of gory films, but he's done this one movie, Green Inferno, with these cannibals who capture these students and eat them and everything. And I guess he's sort of a good choice, but I actually wouldn't mind if Neill Blomkamp directed a Borderlands movie, because I think he would do it really well.
He probably could. Yeah, I think he would be a bit more edgy than the game's default.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, we'll get to takeaways now. But that's my one rant I wanted to quickly have about Neill Blomkamp. He constantly keeps getting he constantly keeps getting pushed over by Hollywood. He's like the biggest fan of Hollywood. Nobody takes him seriously.
He's so meta.
He keeps getting pushed around because the thing is he was going to do an Alien 5. And he was going to bring back Ripley and Hex. There was going to be a direct sequel to Aliens. It was going to ignore Alien 3 and 4. And everything, and then they dropped him in favor of Ridley Scott's Alien Covenant. We all know how that turned out. And then recently he was going to direct they were going to do a RoboCop sequel, with RoboCop, and he was going to direct a movie. And then we never got to find out what his story was going to be. But he said that he wanted to bring back the original actor to play RoboCop. He was going to use the original suit and everything, and then he wanted to quickly make. He thought, okay, guys, I want to make obviously the new movie he's making now, Demonic, which looks incredible, by the way. I highly recommend you guys go see it. But Well, this episode probably will be out after the movie's already been out, but yeah, he wanted to make that movie, and then the studio was like, well, screw you, Blomkamp, get a new director, get out to get this guy out here. It's just like, come on, man, what the hell?
The guy's cool. He's got a lot going for him.
But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, so do you want to go into takeaways?
Yeah, we were there, I think, actually.
You were busy when we noticed the camera cuts.
Yeah, my first takeaway largely was that the protagonist doesn't always win. I mean, he kind of won if Christopher came back, but in the story as is, he didn't win.
Yeah.
He was just walked over by literally everyone, even to the point where his wife was like swindled in the beginning to sort of cut off ties with him, even though I don't think she wanted to, because looking at the end, she really wanted to. She
doesn't want him, and there's sort of a thing there. In my head canon, I sort of have a feeling like she's waiting for him. She's not going to go find some other guy or whatever. She's going to wait for Vickers to come back.
I think so too, but like the whole MNU, they're really evil, aren't they? They're just dicks, all of them.
Well, like I said in the beginning, every sci-fi movie has to have the evil corporation.
Yeah, it's true. So yeah.
But
they're more personified in the sense of his stepdad. I mean, come on, what are you doing to your kid by taking away her husband? Or
I know the parents are both his parents and his wife's parents. They're terrible people.
Awful. Yeah,
they're awful because like the wife. The mother, Vickers' mom's going like, he was never really a smart boy and all that type of stuff. And it's like, he's your own son. And then even later when they interview Vickers' dad, he says like, he died in my mind long ago. And I'm just like, what?
Thanks, dude. Jeez.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. Jeez.
Yeah. I wanted to say, I clicked on it as well. When his mutation, he has the arm, and he ends up on the news. He's alienated both metaphorically and literally. I just clicked on that. That's cool. Because not only is he alienated from people and his family, but he's also literally alienated in the sense he's becoming an alien.
Yeah.
which is fantastic. I thought that was, I just clicked on that. I don't know if that was purposeful. I think it is, but it's cool.
But yeah, no. I guess just my real takeaway from it. I don't know if I really have too many takeaways. I think. I just like this movie for...
I know your takeaway. What? We have to have a mech suit in every movie from now on.
Yes. Rule 1 of Cinema Suitcase, every movie has to have a mech suit.
Oh, we're not watching it. That's a rule. I don't care if it's Lego Movie 3, Narnia, it has to have a mech suit.
Mech suit, yeah. But no, I think just my point is just I just love how original this movie is, because the common complaint about Neill Blomkamp's movies after this is that they're very derivative of other movies. They're too derivative of other movies like Chappie. People say that it's just a RoboCop ripoff or whatever. And then, but what I like about it is that he does take inspiration from obviously sci-fi movies that clearly he grew up with when he was a kid. But I just really like the original concept, like the concept of this alien ship landing in this a second world country, and it just like instead of it being like an alien invasion story, it's more like we're invading the aliens essentially, because the aliens are stranded here and they're treated like as if like second class citizens basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and I just like the original concept. I love the story. I love the writing of this film, and I love how they combine it's a hybrid of the three different styles of shooting, of found footage, documentary style, and traditional shooting. And this is just all around just a masterpiece of a film.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's absolutely beautiful. In a weird way, in a H.R. Geiger kind of way.
Yeah.
HR? It is HR, right?
Yeah, H.R. Geiger.
Okay, I was going to say.
We talked about him in our
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to make sure I didn't say HR because of human resources.
Yeah, human resources.
I didn't want to get his name wrong. Your one gripe was that weird cut.
That's literally my only complaint.
Flaw
is that small moment where there's that like the cut was just a bit too harsh. But other than that, because I've watched this movie like so many times, I even went out and bought the Blu-ray. And actually, a funny little side story for you guys. I actually bought this Blu-ray. This is the second time I bought the. Oh yeah, hold it up to the camera. Yeah. This is the second time I bought a copy of this movie on Blu-ray. I bought it originally from this DVD shop, and then I put the disc in, and the disc was so... I don't know what the guy who sold this Blu-ray, I don't know what he did to the disc, but the disc was so scratched, my PlayStation couldn't even read it.
Dude, the original owner probably used it as a doorstop. That thing was scratched to hell.
Yeah, and then like he brought the, and then when I brought the Blu-ray to them, I said, "Hey, this Blu-ray is like fixed. Just like pick another one." I'm like, "Okay," and then I took, okay, fine, I'll take Green Lantern. And then later, thankfully, I did find a shop where I was able to find a legit Blu-ray copy. But no, this movie is fantastic. I absolutely love it. And then for score.
Oh, I have one gripe.
Okay,
which
gripe.
My one gripe is it is of course open for reevaluation, and that was if that RAM was made of wood.
Oh yeah.
That's my one flaw.
Your ramming issue.
Yeah. Other than that, no, I love it to bits. It's incredible.
So,
everything is so satisfying.
So for score, that is, I guess I would go for a 9. But then it would be like, oh, District 9, you give it a 9. So I'm going to give it... It's a 10.
10.
You know, 10.
Hands down 10 for
it's
you.
It's a 10 I know 10 out of 10 is an unrealistic score. Like,
there's always improvement.
Realistically, it's probably like a 9 or whatever, but I don't care. This is our podcast. We get to rate movies how we want to. 10 out of 10 for
Plus,
me.
I think our scaling should work on a level of not if it's perfect or not, but how much we would recommend it out of 10. I think that's a way to justify 10.
Yeah, I think if you're a filmmaker, or even if you don't live in America, you obviously don't live near Hollywood, LA like we do. I mean, we live in South Africa. We're second world country and everything.
I think we're third world, mate.
Third world, basically. Yeah, third world actually.
We're third world, yeah.
But if you live like in a, I think this is a testament of if you have a passion for film, or you go for your passion, even if you live in a country where you don't have access to. You don't have the best access to cameras or the best tech or whatever.
Actors, budget, nothing. You
like,
can make it.
Like, make your film. Because I mean, this is what put Neill Blomkamp on the map, and this is what put him as one of my favorite directors of all time. Like, this is fantastic.
Yeah,
so
I totally understand.
So yeah, hands down, 10 out of 10, and yeah, this is sort of similar to what I was talking about with Dark Knight and Ghost of the Shell. This movie very much inspired me to become a filmmaker.
I agree.
So yeah,
I think. Oh, hands down, 10 out of 10 for me as well. If I could recommend it, it's definitely. I even argued with you this morning, or not argued, but I suggested it may be on my top 10 favorite ever films.
Yeah, your top 10 films of all time.
And that's because it literally hits home. I mean, this Joburg is what, down the road from us, and
yeah, it's like a 40-minute drive, and we can literally be in, like, 40-minute drive for the two of us, and we're literally in Joburg.
Exactly, which is great because it just proves that we're not all useless. We can make great film as well, which I think is as a South African the most inspirational part of it.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely love. Of course, like the mothership is not there, unfortunately. It left in 2009. But
yeah, we never got to see it.
No. But it's just so inspirational. If someone who was literally and is literally a no one can make it, then you can make it.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
So 10 out of 10 for me, hands down.
Okay, then what would you like to see in a District 10? Because we do know that District 10
is confirmed.
Neill Blomkamp is working on it. So what would you like to see in a sequel?
I said to you, I don't want a District 10.
You don't want
it. Especially the way, like, if the movies have had such a large gap between them, not only is the audience sort of, the original is sort of in the back of everyone's memory, it's faded, but also if they put all this new Hollywood stuff into District 10, and they have like.
Yeah, I hope that if he does make it, he sort of gets a more grounded type of budget. Like if they do increase it, maybe like 50 million. That's like the max you give him. Because I think Neill Blomkamp actually does work best when he's given. Well, not a low budget, obviously, but like he's given a more middle ground type of budget
that he has to carefully consider instead of everything is out of okay.
Because I think Elysium, his second film that he made after this, that was the one. I think that film that was the biggest budget that he ever dealt with when it came to a film, and it wasn't as well. At least in my opinion, it wasn't as good as District 9.
Do you think it was a bit of a CGI fest? I haven't seen it, so I'm asking.
It was a cool design. I think it's just the thing is I just didn't really care for the story and the main character, even though that it's played by of course the one time I'm blanking on the actor's name. The actor from we'll put a text with like a little star just to correct who I'm referring to, but the guy, the main actor from the Jason Bourne films.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, of course. I know his face as well, but
yes,
no.
him. Yeah, he was in it. I didn't like his character as much in that one, and then Chappie was pretty good. Chappie was pretty good because the actor Charlotte Copley, he's the bad guy in Elysium, and then in Chappie he voices the robot in that movie.
Oh, okay. So
but he's very good. He's very good in Chappie.
Okay.
He can play a very good bad guy, but I kind of like it when he plays a good guy. Yeah, I think he does that the best because he has like that innocent type of
He does, yeah.
thing to him. So yeah,
That's great. But okay, since District 10 is fucking happening, whether I wanted to or not, if I do see a sequel, I don't want none of this SJW stuff in it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't
no
need
keyboard warriors.
No. Female is the best at everything. Guys, completely useless. None of this stuff. I don't want to see it.
You don't want to see Red Guardian again.
I mean, of course, if there's a female in it, cool, whatever. I can deal with it. But it's the new wave that's saying guys suck at everything, girls are superior in every way.
Well, no, I think it's specifically white men.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Us white guys.
Yeah, white guys are useless in everything. If you put like a black guy or like a Asian dude or whatever, then he's perfectly fine. But yeah, the women are superior in everything. White men are idiots. That's basically the new trend in Hollywood.
True, and I think I would like it to be a direct sequel.
I mean, we don't want to make it. I mean, obviously, guys, we don't want to make it we're not trying to make it a race scene or whatever. It's just it's just what him and I have observed lately.
And I think a lot of other people have seen it as well. They also bring it up.
Just like I don't know. It's just that they're trying to go woke, but they're going too woke.
Exactly.
Like yes, I understand we need diversity in our films and everything. I'm all for diversity, but the wokeness is just
they're pushing that agenda, unfortunately.
Yeah, because the problem is now every movie now that comes out there has to be an agenda. There's no agenda.
No, it can't just be a great story.
Yeah, it can't just be them producing a great story. No, there has to be an agenda.
So I don't want that, but I would like it to be a direct continuation. So
I would
say Christopher gets home, maybe that's how it starts. Maybe he has some sort of issue there, and then he comes back to help. I don't think it's going to pan out that way, but I still want Vickers, I don't want him to suddenly be human again. In the beginning of the movie. I want to see how they fixed him.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would have. Other than that, I'm open to them experimenting, of course.
I imagine what the film would be like. What a cool way for them to go with the film would be if they maybe what they do with it is that the aliens come and invade, and then it's sort of the reverse of the first movie. So the first movie was the humans subjugating the aliens. Now this one's going to be the aliens subjugating the humans.
That's quite interesting.
I mean, I guess at that point, then people would complain and say, "Oh no, now it's just every other alien invasion movie." But I mean, the thing is, I don't know. I have faith in Neill Blomkamp that he'll be able to come up with a cool story for it. But yeah, I almost don't want to think about what the story will be because I really want to see it. But I mean, whether we get, I would love. Okay, me personally, I would love a sequel. I would be rushing to the cinema day one to go.
You'd be running over pedestrians and all.
Get out of the way, Grandma!
I can see it.
And then, but even if the sequel never gets greenlit or whatever, and this is all we've got, I'm pretty happy.
I'm satisfied with District 9. That's what I was. That's why I didn't want a sequel. It's a perfect story in one.
Yeah.
The ending is it can continue from there. I think it was set up like that, but even if it doesn't, it's still a cool conclusion.
Yeah.
It's not like a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, this is. Especially now with all these reboots and remakes, and I'm like,
yeah.
God, how are they gonna ruin this lovely franchise?
Yes.
That's what I want.
The next franchise for Hollywood to ruin.
Exactly. So of course, but anyway, we can't say anything now about District 10. We have to wait until it's out.
I have faith in Neill Blomkamp.
I have faith in him.
I'm really looking forward to seeing Demonic.
It's the invisible hand.
Please guys, go watch Demonic. I saw the trailer for the new Demonic horror movie that he's working on. It looks phenomenal because it looks like this cool blend of sci-fi meets horror type thing.
Okay.
So pretty cool. But anyway, this is a very long episode, but we really enjoyed making this episode for you guys, and thank you very much. Please like, share, subscribe, and then if you are listening to listen to us on via one of our podcast platforms like Spotify, please, if you do have the time and you want to support us, please give us a review, write us a positive, or just write us a review, give us any feedback, leave us a voice message. I know I did set up a voice message system on Anchor, so you can maybe leave us a voice message if you'd like to, or even just come DM us on our Twitter or our Instagram or any of our social medias, just to give us feedback or whatever, because we always are trying to improve the show for you guys and everything.
Of course.
But yeah, this has been Cinema Suitcase. I'm Logan.
This is Kevin. And this is Kevin, me.
He's Kevin.
The one talking.
And yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you.